Hey, how you doing, Marie?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. You hear us okay?
Yes.
All right.
Marie, thanks for being here with us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure.
So, where are we talking to you from? Where are you at?
I live in the Quebec province in Canada.
Okay.
Can tell by the accent.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know we were talking back and forth a little bit about some strange incidences you've had recently, right? The past few years.
Since 2023, but we started noticing that something was roaming around in 2022 when I moved here because basically I'm from the Eastern Township. I come from Sherbrooke, and I moved down here with my boyfriend in 2022. And on the, I think September in 2022, his father, he has a bunch of hens that lays eggs that he sells, and he had 21 hens, and on 21, 18 got eaten by something that just piled it up inside the chicken coop.
Okay. Well, why don't you start from the beginning and tell us everything that you guys experienced and what led up to everything and what's going on now?
Well, from the start, I would tell you that when it all happened, my father-in-law got up in the morning to go take care of his hands, and he noticed all the cadavers inside of the chicken coop, and he was kind of mad, but he was like wondering what actually have been able to got in there because the little fencing around it never got broken and or anything. It's like something would have opened the door, eaten the chicken, and just piled up the corpse one on top of the other and left and closed the door before leaving. And afterwards, after that, well, we didn't see anything weird happening around the property. We didn't hear anything, but in May 2023, one night, my boyfriend and I tried to light up a bonfire behind the house, and we went in town to get like hot dogs, marshmallows, and like soft drinks and everything to sit behind the house enjoying the bonfire. And well, he had to be outside alone for a little bit while I was inside picking up some stuff for the bonfire as well. And you know what it's like? There's no sound around, really, like no sound. And before we left to head in town, we could hear crickets, frogs, birds, and when we came back, no sound, really dead silent. We could have heard a bug flying around. And he was outside lighting the bonfire and everything, and he felt like something was creeping on him. It was like there's something weird. And he's not afraid of the dark. He's the kind of guy that actually he could live at night and be happy like that. He most of his life worked night shift, so he's the kind of guy that's not afraid of the dark, basically. And he was alone, and he felt like there's something creeping on me. I don't feel safe or anything, so he decided to stay waiting for me. He heard like weird footsteps on the other side of the veranda because we live in a mobile home, but there's like a wrapped around porch around it. And he heard footsteps from the other side of the house pointing onto the woods. He thought that it was maybe me coming from that side, but it wasn't me. I was still inside the house. And when all of a sudden he heard like a big owl, something that's not really common, it was really like something bigger than a wolf or a coyote just by the sound. And he was freaked out. He just rushed inside the house. And when that creature owl, I happened to just step outside of the house on the porch, and when I heard it, I was like, "That ain't no wolf. That ain't no coyote for sure. It's way bigger. It's something else. It's for sure something else." We rushed inside the house because he was all freaked out. I happened to check by because we have a patio door pointing on the backyard. I check, and with the lighting of the fire, I seen it. It was really huge, maybe 9 foot tall, big red eyes reflection, black fur, probably because it was dark. I couldn't tell if it was a darker gray or whatever, but with the lighting, I could see it. Backwards legs, big dog, canine head, the body of a man, long arms. It stared at us for a minute through the patio door behind the house, and then it just left into the woods. We were like, what was that? Before that, I never heard of a dogman, so I made research. I was like, I was on Google looking for a creature looking like a werewolf, and it just popped up on my Google. I went to, then after that, on a YouTube channel to check for noises, howls, and screams from that creature, and I found a video, and I was like, that's exactly what we heard. That's exactly what we heard. And the scream, I would tell you, you can feel it vibrating inside you when they howl. That's how strong it was. And after that, we had a few other incidents, like going out at night and seeing it like from behind a tree or something, stuff like that. I remember that same summer, straight on the eve of my birthday, my boyfriend and I decided like to get back home, get a few stuff from the house, and leave again to go enjoy the stars in the sky near the St. Lawrence River. And while he was inside picking up some stuff, I stayed in the car. All the windows were down. I felt like something was staring at me. I was like, there's something staring at me. I just turned my head around like this, and I happened to actually see it. It was like standing beside one of my boyfriend's truck in the parking, and it was on all four at first, and then it stood up to stare at me. It was just staring at me inside the car. I was a little bit spooked because back then I was like, will it eat me? Will it try to kill me? I didn't know. So I try to keep my cool, because one thing I reminded, because I always, I grew up around wildlife and stuff, so I tried to keep my cool as much as possible, because I remembered if I freak out, it's gonna feel it and maybe it's gonna take advantage of it. So I kept my cool, staying in my seat, and when my boyfriend opened the front door to come back out, it just left. I don't know why it fled when it noticed that he was coming. And it happened many times that actually it fled when it noticed that he was coming. That's something that I always wondered why. I happened to understand later on that it's maybe because it felt that it would spook him really bad, more than me, because I actually happened to see it quite a few times, and I try to keep my cool every time. I really keep my cool. I stay calm, and that's probably the difference between him and I, because he is the one that actually doesn't trust them at all. And we got a few more incidents concerning Dogmen, where actually that creature keeps coming around the property. It stares at us sometimes through windows. Mostly when I'm alone at home, I noticed it. But one night it was like 3 a.m. and he noticed like big yellow eyes on the front yard staring at him, and it just like cloaked away. Oh, yeah. He's mentioning to me because one night I was on the porch. He rushed inside. He was like, babe, come outside. We can hear them howling. I'm not kidding. Come outside. And we could hear them in the distance howling. And that's sad because on that video, what happens? Oh, wait a second. I have a puppy issue. What happened?
Let me ask you a question. Is your boyfriend right there? Does he want to come on with you, or does he prefer not to? Or he's more than welcome to join you. I mean, we'd love to have him if he's seen him too.
Okay. Yeah. He doesn't speak English very well.
Okay, that's fine.
But I can translate for him.
That's great. What's his name?
Sylvain.
Say that again.
Sylvain.
Sylvain?
Sylvain. Sylvain.
Sylvain. welcome to the show, man. Thanks for
Good.
joining
Nice
with
to
us
meet you.
tonight. So yeah, you guys keep going. Tell us what you were talking about there.
Yeah, he rushed inside the house to tell me, come outside, we can hear him howling in the distance. It would be great to record them. And we walked outside. I tried my best to record them, and what happened, we have a chicken farm up the road, and their machines were going at night because it was like the harvest season to put the grain inside the silos and stuff. So we can hear him in the distance, but not very well. I tried to enhance the sound and stuff with another video that I actually like edited so we can hear it better. And well, I have videos of them howling. I have pictures of footprints as well in the woods beside the house, because this spring in March I happened to actually felt drawn into the woods. Something like was attracting me into the woods. I left from inside the house. I walked into the woods, and there's like a big trail leading to actually pasture far in the back of that woods. But something like told me to go off the trail, and after a few feet of the trail, I happened to turn my head and I seen a huge dogman, black fur, yellow eyes, long ears, long arms, and it had like his feet were more like our feet, but with dog toes. It was kind of special. It was like really a human-like foot, but with dog toes and claws at the end. I noticed it and I was like, it was staring at me. It didn't try to be menacing or anything. It just kept staring at me. And when it noticed, because he was like, where is she? And when he noticed that I went into the woods all alone, he rushed to try to find me, and it just cloaked away when it heard him coming. But it never actually has been menacing towards us or anything. From what I know, yes, it comes around. It stares sometimes in the windows, like to check what we're doing, but it never attacked us or never has been aggressive in any way. I don't know why, but it's like that.
À part, c'est proche de toi aussi quand tu faisais de la gomme de sapin.
Oh, yeah. There's that one episode where I actually was in the woods. I was collecting like fir sap with a bottle and a tool that we actually spike it in the bubbles to get the fir sap inside the bottle. And I was collecting it, and we actually have 3 different type of dogmen roaming around. That one that I saw that time looked more like a coyote standing on its back legs. And I happened to actually be working in the woods collecting the first sap, and I heard like footsteps, something running on all fours. I turned my head and I seen it. It seen me too. It just stopped, stood up, stared at me like this, like wondering what I was doing, and it just left. It never dared to come near. It never dared to be aggressive or anything. I never had like something chasing me out of the woods, but they sure let us know when we're not welcome around. But they never attack.
Moi, je ne l'ai jamais vu, j'ai jamais été en contact avec non plus, mais il a déjà été proche de moi dans le bois.
What he's saying is that he never seen it, but he knew it was close to him just by how it was creeping on him and stuff. Like something was roaming around him, probably staring at him, but he knew it couldn't be a deer. A deer, when it sees you, is just it leaves. That stayed and probably through the brushes and the branches was staring at him at a certain distance and just left.
Dans le bois à côté, il était caché dans les branches à même pas à 30 pieds de moi.
Yeah.
Il faisait du bruit. Il s'est pas fait voir, mais je savais qu'il était là parce que j'entendais les branches craquer.
Yeah, like he was explaining, he was in the woods because we have a little trailer camper, and he said, I didn't see it, but I sure heard it because it was moving branches and moving around. I knew it was maybe about 30 feet from me, walking around, staring at me, moving branches and trees, but I never seen it.
Il bougeait pas, il était Il était direct en ligne avec moi, direct en face, à peu près à 30 pieds. C'est juste des branches qui nous séparaient. Puis il faisait craquer les branches, mais il restait à la même place.
Yeah, like he's explaining, it was like maybe 30 feet from him, staring at a distance through the branches. It wasn't really like moving much, but he knew it was there by the sound of the branches cracking and stuff.
Wow, you guys have had a lot of interesting Dogman experiences going on there. Are you close to? How close are you to Quebec City? Is it Quebec? Quebec?
An hour and a half from Quebec City.
Okay, so you guys are kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, we live in a small town. There's about 550 people in that small town. We're about, maybe I would tell you, maximum 45 minutes to an hour from the main border.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing but wilderness and water up there. So I'm not surprised that you're having the experiences you've had. I'm not. Have you had any? Well, before we go into that, let me ask you this: Can you give us a description of the Dogman? Does he look like a werewolf? Does he look like something you've seen on TV or in a movie? How would you describe? Did he have hands?
Yes, it has big hands. Actually, I seen the hands of it, and it's really big hands, just like ours, but with big claws at the end of it. And I can't tell that it looks like a werewolf because the basic description of a werewolf is like a flat face. The ears are like on the side and pointing, but it's like the teeth and the nose that changes a little bit and the head becomes more hairy. That really has the head of a dog. All the ones I seen are really having like the head of a dog, the body of a man, but hairy and yeah, a long snout about this big. They have really long snout, big eyes as well, either yellow. I've seen one with red eyes, and for the most, there are some with gray, a mix of gray, brown, and black fur, and some are totally black, and some are actually all dark gray. But from what I noticed, there's one at I seen that didn't have backwards legs, and all the other ones had.
Ah, puis une autre chose qui les différencie des loups-garous, eux autres, on les voit en plein jour.
Yeah, the main difference with a werewolf and a dogman, like he says, these ones we see them in plain daylight. I seen one staring at me from the wood lines once, straight during daytime, and I was actually trying to take a picture of his truck, and I seen it in the distance. When I zoomed the picture at the maximum, I was like, Jesus, it's right there creeping on me. In plain daylight, plain day sight. In plain sight, like they're not really afraid. I don't know if it's because they feel comfortable around us, maybe because they know we won't chase them off, we won't go after them, we just let them be. It's probably because of that, but from what I know, they're not really afraid of us. That's for sure. I'm not sure they are looking to have interaction with us, but I can't tell that they're scared of us.
Ça n'a pas l'hurlement d'un loup-garou.
And it doesn't howl like a werewolf, like you just said. It has like a very unique type of howl.
You guys said you had that recorded.
Yes.
The howl. Is there any way you could possibly send that to us? Maybe when we release your episode, we can.
Yes, I can try to send it to you later on.
Just an email or something if you can, or whatever's easy for whenever.
Yeah, or maybe on Messenger, since I have you guys on Messenger.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
we can add that right to the episode.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I have
We'd like to
pictures
hear
of
it.
footprints and stuff. I can send it to you too.
Yes. Anything you'd like to send, please. We would.
Yeah,
check
and
it
I
out.
have
Pictures, yeah.
like you mentioned, I have a picture of it. We can see it like next to a square body truck. He has a 1982 K20, and I was trying to take a picture of the truck, and it was like behind in the trees. You can see the shape of the shoulders and stuff. They have really wide shoulders. I have one that's really shaped muscular. There's another one. It's more like a coyote walking on his back legs. Still very tall, but doesn't really look like the others when it comes to the body shape. It's just like when they stand up, you notice they have a hands with thumb and stuff. But when they're on all fours, you notice the front legs, if we can call them like that, the arms are really longer than a normal coyote, and they have a normal elbow just like us.
J'ai l'impression qu'ils ne veulent pas se montrer à moi, mais ils veulent me faire savoir qu'ils sont là.
Like he says, like he explained, it's not that, it's like they don't want to show themselves to him, but they want him to know that they're there, because most of the time they will show themselves mostly to me or other people, but to him it's like, I don't know if they know that it's because he doesn't really trust them, but they don't show themselves to him that much. He's gonna find footprints and stuff, hear them going around, hear them out, but he won't see them.
Là, un mois et demi, par exemple, on était dans le bois à côté, je pense que tu étais avec moi. Puis il y avait des branches qui bougeaient jusqu'à 10 pieds dans les arbres de haut. Puis il était à quoi? À 30 pieds de moins encore cette fois-là.
Yeah, like he mentioned, it's about 1 month ago. We were in the woods walking, and the branches were shaking at 10 foot in the air, but nothing else was shaking around. Only some branches of some trees at 10 foot in the air, but we couldn't see it. We just seen the branches randomly started shaking, and there was no wind. It's like they want us to know that they're there, but they don't necessarily want us to see them sometimes.
Les branches bougeaient aussi comme ça. C'était vraiment la pipite qui bougeait les branches.
Yeah.
De manière que c'est...
Yeah, I'm just going to turn the camera so we can make the motion that it was doing.
Like this. Yeah, like this.
Because I noticed that one time that he came in the woods because I felt drawn by something in the woods. Something was like psychologically calling me in the woods. When it heard him walking, it just like slowly cloaked like a Bigfoot would do. And I was like, okay, you have that ability I didn't know about.
Yeah, these things are even more weirder than Bigfoot, I think. And wherever Bigfoot comes from, I think these things come from too. And I don't know if it's this planet or not, to be honest with you.
Well, as little as we know about Bigfoot, I think we know even less about these dogmen.
Bigfoot, il y en a vu un ici. Laurie.
Yeah.
Laurie en a vu un ici.
Yeah, he's mentioning one of our friend that years ago she was living in a mobile home here because it's actually rented. And when she was living here with her parents, she used to be able to take her four-wheeler and go for a drive around in the woods. She crossed the road here to take that little dirt road and keep on that trail. And it was about 11 o'clock at night, and she faced a big Bigfoot, a big one. And it had red eyes, brown hair covering the whole body and stuff. She got spooked, turned around, and came back home.
Yeah, I don't blame her one bit. I would have too.
Don't blame her.
You guys, I mean, you guys probably have a ton of Bigfoot and Dogman running around up there.
I seen
if
a
I had to
Bigfoot
guess.
once, but not here. It's back when I was living in the Eastern Township, because behind my parents' house, it's actually, I got really like surprised when I seen it there, because I always thought they like more remote areas. They won't stick around people and stuff. But we noticed like weird noises at night, like wood knocking, stuff like that, weird screams. My mom and I were like sitting on the porch one night, and we were like, what the heck is that? Like trees were breaking, we could hear branches snapping and stuff, weird screams, and really like wood knocking. And there's one day after I came back from college, I was like, I don't have homework, and I'm just gonna go work in the woods behind my parents' house. It used to belong to an old man. He was too sick to take care of it, and he didn't mind my brother and I to go take care of it. So I took my tools, headed into the woods, and I remembered we heard screams and weird stuff 2 weeks prior to that. And I keep walking, I keep going down, and the deeper I was going, when I was staring up, I could see like trees, but big trees, maybe a foot diameter trees, twisted like little twigs, maybe 10 foot in the air. And I was like, what is going on? And weird structures too made with the trees. I was like, there's something that came here, and I know it's not a person just by what it made. And as I keep going down further, I turn my head this way, and maybe 50 feet in parallel from me, there's a Bigfoot going down the woods as well. It just turned its head as well and see me, and it's just cloaked. I was like, what is that? And I just freaked and turned around, went back home.
Talk
That
about
was,
that cloak, and so it was there, and then you saw it just kind of what?
it becomes like from visible to invisible slowly. It doesn't have like, it doesn't make like a pixelization, if I
Uh-huh.
can call it like that. It goes smooth. It doesn't go like this. It goes like fading.
So it's
Just
not an
kind of
instant
like
thing.
fades out.
T'as déjà avec un Bigfoot?
Non, pas ici.
Non, t'as pas vu quelque chose, rien?
À part Dogman, non.
Ah.
C'est Laurie qui avait un Bigfoot.
Ah. Mais il me semble que tu disais que t'avais vu de quoi ici et tout, non?
Non, juste Dogman.
Sinon,
La shot que je pense que j'ai vu un Wendigo aussi.
ah, peut-être.
Yeah, because one night we were out, we could hear like an owl, howling and stuff, and there was like a second howl, but it didn't sound like an owl at all. I was like, what is that? It was like, trying to mimicking an owl. And I looked at him and I was like, it's time to get back inside. There's something creeping on us. There's no sound except for that. So I don't feel safe. I'd rather get back inside. And as we go inside, I actually see like something huge walking around. It looked like a human body, but bigger, higher. And from the distance, and it was really dark, I can't tell if it had like, how can I say that? The rack of a deer, I don't know. Because it was too dark, but I seen like something walking in the distance across the road, and I was like, nope, it's time to get inside. But since like where I live right now, it's an old place. Like the old, I think the older town around here is Rivière-Well. It's been created in the 1600s, so it's really really old. The town here exists since 1898, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of old as well. I don't know if there's Indian mounds, but we sure have a bunch of cemeteries around. There's one straight in the town, and there's another one when you take Road 5 and you keep following it.
Puis il y a eu un soir aussi, il n'y a pas longtemps, que la radio elle s'est mise à gricher, puis ça l'a fait bzzz. Il y avait comme un code monstre en radio.
Mm-hmm.
Puis tout est devenu calme dehors. Tu m'as fait rentrer dans la maison.
Yeah, he's mentioning one night we were in the garage here. The radio was playing, and all of a sudden, the sound just like started like, it's like the radio lost signal for some bit, and it was making like a Morse code. And when I went outside, I didn't hear any sound, and I remembered from some stuff that I watch, because the more it goes, the more I like to actually get myself informed about cryptids and stuff. And I remember a show that I watched that mentioned that when you get near sometimes some cryptids, your radio will actually like have signal issues. Your phone battery will die. Your car battery might die as well. You might have like signal issues. All your actually devices might just go dead right there for some reason, because they seem to have like how do I say that? They seem to make like, I have only the word in French. That's weird.
C'est quoi?
Des ondes magnétiques. Magnetic waves, I think. So yeah, it was kind of weird, and I noticed it, and he was like, I don't know what's going on with the radio. And when I went outside, there's absolutely no sound, and normally, even though the radio's playing, we can hear bugs going and stuff.
Le grichage de la radio, c'est pas un grichage ordinaire.
It
Quand
wasn't normal.
quand on fait juste perdre le poste, ça fait juste un crash un peu. Là.
Mm-hmm.
Mais là, c'était pas un bruit de même, c'était vraiment un bruit comme un son électronique.
Mm.
Bzzz, il y avait des fréquences.
Yeah.
C'est drôle.
Like he's explaining, that night when it happened, it wasn't like a normal radio losing signal and going. It was really making like frequencies. It was really weird. So when we noticed it and when I went outside and I was like, there's no sound at all, we went back inside the house. We shut the...
5 minutes avant, il y avait du son dehors aussi.
Yeah, and 5 minutes before that, we could hear the bugs. Whether it was crickets, we could hear frogs, we could hear birds, and all of a sudden, no sound outside at all. So we were like, no, let's get back inside.
We've heard that every time people have had encounters with Bigfoot or Dogman, everything goes silent right away. And I was going to mention something. You talked about how you tend to see them. He doesn't. They seem to be around more when you're there, but he's not. And I think that's true when it comes to Dogman or Bigfoot. I think they're a little bit intimidated by the male species. They probably know that, he may be able to do something to us or hurt us. They probably understand that the female and the children are not as apt to be aggressive toward them. Just like Bigfoot would be, if you're a Bigfoot and if let's say you're walking along and you see a female Bigfoot and her children, you're probably gonna be like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then here comes the male Bigfoot. He's like 12 feet tall and he's scary looking. You're gonna be like, shy away from that. So I think they kind of watch themselves around your husband, and he may be apt to. They may have seen him with a gun before, or shooting or something like that. I don't know if you guys.
No, we don't carry guns normally. The only thing we actually had was actually a little BB gun. But it's no threat, it's not even working, and we kept it in the trailer. We normally go outside unarmed. We go in the woods unarmed as well. We don't have hunter's license, so we don't hunt. And I don't know why. It's probably like you mentioned, he's a male. They maybe feel like intimidated by him, and they maybe don't feel intimidated by me. But the more it goes, it seems like they notice he doesn't carry weapons. He's minding his own business, so they come around. They stare at him from a distance. They rather not be seen, but they make him feel that they're there.
Des fois, il vient proche, parce que ce printemps, il te watchait par la fenêtre. Il était très proche de toi.
Yeah, like you mentioned, this spring, they come very close, actually. He was at the sugar cabin with his friend getting some maple syrup going over there, and I was at home cooking supper. And while I was cooking, I happened to turn my head. The TV was playing, and there was one in the door window staring at the TV. It was watching TV, probably wondering what it was. But it stayed there for a while, staring at the TV, then turned its head, stared at me a little bit, and left. That's the worst that it actually did. For the worst part, that's how close they come, but they tend to respect our space. That is kind of weird, though.
Are you afraid to go outside at night?
Not really.
Have you guys ever seen any kind of orbs or lights in the woods?
Est-ce qu'on a déjà vu des lumières dans le bois, des espèces d'énergie lumineuse?
Seule chose lumineuse que je vois, c'est les UFO.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the only thing like luminescent that we see, it's in the sky, it's UFOs. We have a lot of UFOs here when the sky is actually clear. We can see them. The other night we had like a bunch going on top of our heads, and we sure knew that it weren't planes or drones or whatever.
Non, parce que moi, je suis capable de tout différencier. Je suis un ancien cadet de l'air.
Yeah, like he used to be in the Air Cadets, so he's seen a bunch of stuff while he was in the Air Cadets as well, and he knows how to distinguish which is which. So it's not a problem to him.
Very interesting. What kind of things have you guys seen? I mean, what made you think they were UFOs, I guess, or what made you know they were UFOs?
Dans les UFO, j'en vois depuis que Je suis grand comme 3 pommes, puis j'en vois régulièrement.
Like he says, he sees UFO since he's a little kid, and he's kind of used to it because over here, it's not like being in the big city where the lights are actually making, in fact, that you can't see the stars in the sky and stuff like that. And when he's staring at the sky, the difference between a UFO, a star, and the plane will go, but there's like a red light as well underneath it to let you know that it's actually a plane. Don't shoot it, you know. But a UFO is like gonna be a white light going fast in the sky like this. It's gonna go really, really fast. It's gonna turn sometimes and
Des
keep
fois,
going
ça
straight.
l'arrête, des fois, ça change de trajectoire.
Yeah, sometimes they stop and change directions as well. It's never all the same.
So I have a question for both you guys, or you guys in general. Where you live is so remote, and there's nothing. There's a lot of wilderness way out in Canada, in your area as well. For example, um, do you think that these creatures, i.e., Dogman or even Bigfoot, have just been around for a long time and just been hiding in those woods, and now they're coming out and now we're seeing them because we're populating? Or do you guys think that they're from somewhere else? Do you think they're not from this world, or you think there's something different about them? What's your thoughts on that?
C'est quoi qu'il dit?
Il demande, dans le fond, vu qu'on est dans un coin plus isolé dans le Québec, si on pense que les Dogmen puis les Bigfoot, c'est parce qu'ils font, ils peuplent de leur bord, puis on peuple de notre bord, puis c'est pour ça qu'on en voit de plus en plus.
Ben, je te dirais, ben, d'un, ici, on est dans la montagne appalachienne.
Mhm.
Puis de deux, ici, dans les places isolées, on est beaucoup dans le bois. Fait que eux autres, ils se cachent dans le bois. Fait que c'est normal qu'on en ait plus ici qu'ailleurs. Mais tout, la raison pourquoi que là, on commence à en voir, ça sort du bois, c'est parce qu'on voit que les gars, ils bûchent dans le bois partout, les bûcheuses, puis tout, mais tu vois autant que moi. On voit qu'ici, dans Pinguette, là, puis comment est-ce que ça l'a changé. Ça fait 2 ans que t'es ici.
Ouais.
Ça l'a changé beaucoup, là. Comment est-ce qu'il y a du bois qui a été coupé, comment que tes forêts s'est rendu à tes champs. Ils coupent à blanc partout. Fait que les bébites, ils ont plus de place à aller. Ils sortent du bois.
Yeah,
Plus ça va aller, plus qu'on va avoir, parce que plus qu'ils coupent à blanc.
Yeah, like he was explaining, the more it goes, the more there's people actually going into the woods to chop trees and stuff like that. Here it's a lot about the wood industry. So the main reason why he thinks we've seen more of them is because they have no choice to get out of the woods because we're chopping so many trees. They can't hide this much anymore. Like, it's been 2 years I'm here, and I can tell you, just keep taking the road down. Normally it's all forest, but the more it goes, the more they're chopping trees, the more it's actually fields with no trees in them. So it's like more normal. They tend to get out of the woods to actually change place, to probably find another place to hide. And well, somehow they kind of end up interacting with us because when they come out of the woods, they encounter us and we encounter them, and so that's how it goes.
Mais tout, on est dans la montagne appalachienne. Puis eux
Yeah.
autres, ils descendent de là. Ils ont parti des États-Unis pour monter ici dans la montagne appalachienne.
Like you mentioned, here the region name is actually Chaudière-Appalaches, so it's related to the Appalachian Mountains. So they tend to hide. From what I heard, there's a lot of them hiding in the Appalachian mountain chain, so they tend to follow that chain probably. And I heard of some people down in Virginia saying they see them mostly in the winter compared to here we see them in the summer, because it's probably cooler here in the summer and warmer there in the winter. So they tend to travel from probably a place to another depending on the weather, the food and stuff.
Ben, regarde, dans le temps que mon père était jeune, là, des orignales ou des chevreuils, je ne sais plus lesquels des deux, me semble les orignaux, ils n'avaient pas de ça par ici. Là, à cette heure, on en a plein partout, mais ils viennent tous de l'autre part. Ils partent des États-Unis, puis ils montent tous par ici.
Yeah.
Ils font la même affaire.
Like you mentioned, when his father was young, his father is going to be 79 next month. When his father was young, there was almost no moose here, and they all moved actually from the States to here because there used to be no moose around here.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You wonder why that that is, right? I mean, all these things going out there killing things off. You guys are in the heartland up there, and you know what? I can see you're talking about the Appalachian Mountains range, but that kind of it does kind of cross the river a little bit into Canada, I guess if you call that the river there. What river we're talking about? The
St. Lawrence River.
yes, correct, and up around that way where you guys, I think you guys are at. I mean,
Yeah, we're on the south shore of it.
okay, so yeah, I mean, you're still in the mountain range there. There's a lot of, I mean, it's just all woods and waterways up there. So why wouldn't something like that be living up there?
Yeah, that's for sure. Because actually, there's so much resources around here. I don't see why we wouldn't have them around here. It's not like where I'm from. I was surprised to see a Bigfoot from where I'm from because there's a lot. There's a lot of people. My hometown is actually over 100,000 people living there, but my like part of that town is more like out west. It's kind of a little more like there's still like neighborhoods and stuff, but it's more there's a little more countryside on this side compared to, let's say, if you head on the east side of town or the south side of town, north side. The western side has more country to it.
Mais tantôt, tu parlais sais qu'il y avait peut-être des vieux cimetières indiens et tout ça.
Ouais.
Mais c'est parce que ça, on recule dans les années 14, 15, 16, 1700, allez, même aujourd'hui. Le bord du fleuve, sur le bord des champs, c'est là que c'était peuplé avant. Puis c'est ici, là, avant, dans les années 15-1600, il y avait des Indiens, puis ici, on avait des tribus, puis ils longeaient le fleuve. Ils ont logé les villages sur le long du fleuve, puis après ça, ils ont monté dans les terres. Ce qui n'est pas comme Sainte-Louise, Saint-Roch, La Poque, puis tout ce qui est sur le bord du fleuve, c'est des villages qui datent de là 400 ans. Plus que tu montes vers les lignes, plus que les villages sont récents.
Like he explained, it's like there, because I mentioned earlier that there was probably Indian burial grounds and Indian mounds, but well, here, like he explained, it's very old over here because most of the small towns from here has been like colonized from the 1500s, 1600s near the St. Lawrence River, and then up into the mountains and stuff, because there was like access to water and stuff, so they could grow food and stuff, water their land and stuff. And there was Indians a lot around here because our ancestors actually learned from them how to grow their food here, how to survive here. So there's a possibility as well that there's like Indian burial grounds that we don't know about because it's way, way, way older than what we would know about. And I heard about there would be a connection between Dogman and actually in First Nation burial grounds. Like I read about stuff that probably Dogman would be also related to far back in the history to Egypt, to Anubis, because it's represented as the body of a man and the head of a dog, and that its job was actually to watch over the burial grounds of people in Egypt and helping people to move along in their life. But I think that maybe it could be a possibility that it's why they're here. They're probably watching over, making sure people don't mess around with nature, people don't mess around with those people actually's grave.
Puis ça, c'est la preuve qu'il y a déjà eu des Indiens par ici de voter à Québec, puis sur le long du fleuve. Les réserves indiennes, ils sont où? Ils sont sur le long du fleuve.
Yeah, like you mentioned, if you come around here, if you go in Quebec City, even in Montreal, for instance, all the Indian reserves are near the St. Lawrence River. They're all near the St. Lawrence River. They don't go farther into the lands. They're really stuck near to the river.
Ça, si on recule dans les années 1500, comme je disais tantôt, là, tout le long sur le long du fleuve, là, partout, si tu voudras, là, sur le bord du fleuve, partout, c'était peuplé à grandeur, tous des Indiens.
Yeah, like you mentioned in the 14, 15, 1600s, back then, well, there was a lot of people living near the St. Lawrence River, but most of them were actually Indians, so there's a possibility of actually having Indian burial grounds that we don't know about, that are not written into the papers.
La raison pourquoi ils se mettaient sur le bord du fleuve, c'est parce que, les terres sont planches là-bas. C'est toutes des belles grandes terres planches. C'est facile à cultiver. Ils sont capables de vivre comme qu'ils veulent. C'est facile à s'installer. Puis sur le bord du fleuve, ils ont tous les poissons qu'ils veulent. Ils sont capables d'aller à Montréal, d'aller n'importe où, rien qu'en traversant par le fleuve. Ils peuvent pas avoir la meilleure place que sur le bord du fleuve pour vivre.
Yeah, like he explained, back then they couldn't have a better place to live because all the land on the side of the river, it's actually really like flat. It's flat grounds. It's easy to actually grow your food, to actually go fish if you need something. You need to go on the North Shore, just take your boat and go, it's all stuff like that. They have easy access to water, and it's easier to grow food near the St. Lawrence River. So that's why there was a lot of people living there back then.
Et en plus, c'est toutes des belles terres pas trop rocheuses, puis c'est toutes des bonnes terres cultivables. Ils font tout ce qu'ils veulent avec ces terres-là. C'est vraiment de la qualité.
Okay. Yeah, but like he also added, it's actually land that is easy to cultivate, to actually grow food on, because there's less rocks. Is nice. It's a nice dirt to grow food in.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. That's very interesting as well, as far as the Indian burial grounds in that area. Who knows how long these creatures have been here? Maybe before us. Maybe,
C'est le type de skinwalker. Ma mère est supposée qu'elle en a chez eux.
Yeah, like he said, if you guys also want to talk about skinwalkers, my mother-in-law says that she has some around her house, because she hears like people calling her name at night. Let's say her husband calls her name at night, but he's in bed sleeping and he's not outside, and the voice comes from outside. She can hear that as well. But I don't know about skinwalkers in this place because it's way colder. I heard about them in the south of the United States. Like I told her, I have more the feeling that it could be something like a Wendigo, because I heard that maybe they mimic sounds as well, just like the skinwalker does, to catch their prey.
Yeah, skinwalkers are mostly in the southwest of the United States. Wendigo is more apt to be up there with you guys.
Yeah, you've got those. You got Bigfoot. You got Dogman.
I think.
Who knows what else is up there roaming around those woods? Do you guys go out in the woods at all? Do you guys go hiking? Do you guys?
Than a Wendigo.
Yeah, well, we go in the woods a little bit, like to work in there, like cut the dead trees and stuff, and get fir sap, collect the fir branches as well. But like, we don't necessarily go hiking in the woods, but
on est tout le temps dans le bois pareil. Ce qu'il y a partout autour de nous autres, c'est quoi? C'est du bois partout. On est dans le bois ici.
Like he explained, no matter what we do, we're surrounded by actually nature.
Point ta caméra puis on est de bord, puis on est dans le bois.
Yeah, he wants me to show you like around what it looks like. As you guys will see, there's a lot of nature around here. I don't know if I can turn my camera. Trying to actually turn my camera around. I don't know if I can. Oh, I'm just gonna go like this. Like,
on est dans le bois partout ici,
yeah, I'm walking outside. I'm just wanting to show you. And now I have my puppy trying to...
No problem. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but if you look, there's a field over here, and there's a wood line at the back. Yeah. You can see that there's a wood line at the back.
Yes.
And there, it's all woods. And if I move across this road, it's all woods as well. We're really living somewhere like we're surrounded by woods. We're surrounded by forest and all.
And how long have you guys lived there?
He lived there for since he's a little kid, 2 years old, and he's gonna turn 28 this fall. And I moved there in 2022.
Wow. So I don't know if your husband understands English or not. Ask him. So he's never seen anything. He's lived there all his that long of a time. That's just recently is when he started noticing these dogmen, or was it when he was younger?
Il demande, ça fait longtemps que tu vis ici. C'est-tu la première fois que avant, t'avais-tu remarqué qu'il y avait quelque chose qui était dans le bois avant que je vienne ici?
J'ai découvert ça juste l'année passée parce que tu t'es mis à rechercher là-dessus parce que moi, j'ignorais totalement ces choses-là. Je savais même pas que ça existait. Mais sinon, les UFO, ça, c'est depuis que je suis tout petit.
On parle de Dogman, on parle de Cryptid.
Non, pas vraiment. Non, je connaissais rien. J'étais ignorant totalement. Mais sinon, la seule chose que j'ai vue cet hiver, c'est les yeux jaunes. J'étais assis dans le salon, puis j'ai vu des yeux jaunes me sauter en avant là, dans la neige. J'étais déjà compté.
Ouais.
Ah, il n'y a pas longtemps et tout, le piquette qui a revolé.
Ah, ouais, c'est vrai.
Ah, bien fait.
Oh, Sylvain, appelle le chien. Yeah, like he mentioned, he's been living here all his life, but Sylvain, attends. Like he mentioned, he lived there all his life. He never knew about them existing, actually. He never thought that they could possibly live here because he never encountered them. But he knew about UFOs because he seen them a lot when he was a kid. But he never heard about Dogman. He heard about people seeing Bigfoot not around here, but, when you actually watch TV shows and stuff. But
l'impression que j'ai toujours eue, là, c'est surtout le soir ou la nuit, là. Il y a des fois que je ne serai pas confortable à aller dans le bois. Je vais sentir comme si il y aurait une menace. Il y a quoi de malveillant dans le bois.
Yeah, like he mentioned.
Une mauvaise présence.
Okay. Like he mentioned, he lived there all his life, like I was trying to explain, but he never knew about a creature like Dogman existing, or he never thought that Bigfoot would be around here either. But like he said, if I go in the woods at night, I feel like threatened, like there's something that might try to get me in there. So he doesn't intend to go in the woods at night for that reason. But except that, he's gonna go on the property at night and he's not scared. But living to go into the woods, he won't.
C'est comme si je sens une mauvaise énergie puis je me sens watché, je me sens regardé.
Yeah, like he says, it's like he feels watched and that there's a bad energy around him. There's a bad vibe and he doesn't go there.
Ça, c'est depuis que je suis tout jeune que j'ai des impressions de même. C'est pas toutes les nuits, mais ça l'arrive.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's like that since he's a little kid. It's not every single night, but most of the time, yes.
Yeah, we've heard all those things before when people have encountered these creatures. We talked about the yellow eyes and the big snout, and just kind of the body of a man, shoulders and everything. Who knows what these things are and where they come from? I mean, I thought Bigfoot was a big deal, but the more we hear about these dogman creatures, I don't know. It just creeps me out. What the heck is going on here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's kind of special. And like this winter, he was sitting in his chair in the living room watching TV. All of a sudden, he felt watched. He turned around, and right here on this side of the railing,
right here.
Yeah, right where he's standing, he's seen yellow eyes like jumping a little bit into the air,
Des poules jaunes grosses de même.
Like big eyes, like
De même, man, ça
staring.
m'a regardé, ça faisait... Puis là, ça a disparu. Ça cloquait en avant de moi.
Yeah, he seen like yellow eyes going like this in front of him and then cloak away. And
Wow.
big eyes, like really big eyes.
Wow.
C'est quelque chose qui courait dans la neige en sautant. Puis ça m'a regardé tout le long, mais j'ai juste vu 3 sauts, puis ça a disparu.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's like something that was running in the snow, but like jumping at the same time. It like did 3 little jumps like that, and it was gone.
Puis les yeux, ça m'a regardé moi.
And the eyes were staring straight at him.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Really creepy, parce que le lendemain matin, dans la neige, il n'y avait aucune trace de rien. Je comprenais rien.
Yeah, and the next morning, what was even creepier, he went to stare at the snow, couldn't find the footprints at all.
See, that's why I wonder if these things aren't more paranormal.
Could
So
very well
from
be.
somewhere else. I just don't know. It's just the more I hear stuff, the more I wonder. But Mary Claire, we appreciate you guys being on with us tonight and talking about you
Yeah,
guys'
those are
encounters.
great encounters. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
I forget. Can you say his name again for us?
Sylvain.
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 Yes.
Yes.
Sylvain. Thank you for being here with us tonight,
Yeah,
sir.
we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And if you guys have any more encounters or something happens, please let us know.
Yeah, keep in
Like,
touch.
Problem.
and then send us the, if you have the information, the growl or the pictures or whatever. We'd love to
Yeah,
see
I have
them.
pictures of footprints. I have the picture of where you can see like the shoulder is standing behind a tree, but you can clearly see the shoulders. And I have many pictures of footprint. That recording of the howl, that's for sure. I'm gonna send you the one that's not edited and the one that's edited, so you can really notice the difference.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
You guys have a great evening, and thanks again for being on tonight.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate it so much.
All right. Keep in touch. Take care, guys.
Yeah, take care of you too.
All right. See ya.
See ya.